In the previous video, we learned how to create a store using the Readable function. Such a store is called Readable store, which implies you can read and write values to a store. But sometimes you might not want other components to be able to update the store value. You still want the value to be shared across the components, but just not allow the components to update the value. In such cases, you can make use of readable stores. To understand readable stores, the example we are going to consider is displaying the current time in the browser. Let's say you are building an app where you need to display the current local time. So the time has to be shared across multiple components, but you don't want any individual component to update that value. In other words, you need the readable stores. Let's understand the syntax and usage. In the stores file, we create a readable store for which we import the readable function. So import Readable, readable from Svelte store. Let's call this store as time. So const time is equal to readable. The initial value is going to be a current date. So new date, although the store is readable, it doesn't mean we cannot update it. The readable function accepts a second argument, which is a callback function. This function receives a function called setAssets argument, which we can use to update the time in the callback function. Let's create a timer to set time every second. So const interval is equal to set interval, and this accepts a callback function. We also set the second argument, which is the duration, for the interval 1 second. Within the set interval callback function, we call the set function, passing in the current date. This will update the time store every second, with the current time of course. If we have a set interval, we need to clear it. We do that by returning a function from the callback function. So after set interval, return a function which is going to clear interval, and we pass in interval. Alright, now that we have the readable store, let's display the time value in a component exported from stores.js, and then in the components folder, I'm going to create a new file called timer.svelte. Within the file, add a script section and import the time store for time from store/stores.js. This time value itself though needs to be formatted for us to understand the interval updates. For that, I'm going to copy paste a function which formats the date time value, and I have called it dateFormatter. Now in the markup, we can render an h2 tag. It says the time is dateFormatter.format, and we pass in $time. Let's include this component in app.svelte and head to the browser. You can see that time is rendered and update every second. We can use this time store value in any component, but the component itself cannot update the time since it is readable store value. Alright, we have one final detail to look at, which we will do so in the next video.